And the part that I want to emphasize now, and I want you to think about when we play the scales, is the last bone. Look at this. Do you see how each one has a bulb at the end? Like a little ball, and then there's a shank, then it comes skinnier or thinner in the middle there, and then it flares out again at the end before it reaches the other bone. So when you put your finger down, you put it on the ball at the very end of the hand, and the thumb touches this part. The thumb is more elongated than, of course, these. It's a different shape. You can play either on the very tip of the ball, so your hand would be more like that. You can play on the side of that ball, which is the way we usually do it. But you don't want to get your hand so far in that you're playing on the shank. You don't want your finger to be, you want to play in the middle of the finger, unless you want a very undifferentiated sound, a sound without a center. When you're playing your finger across two strings, again, we do it instinctively, but we want to just take note that we have one part on like this, the very end would be on the A string, and then we skip the shank and we put this part of the bone on the D string. So we are always playing on a bone, or part of the bone. You see what I mean? The flesh is just covering. And the flesh is important, of course, but it's just covering. And so you can think of having your bones be really solid hitting the string to make a good articulation. And then when you vibrate, you can think of getting the bone down well and the flesh, and rocking the bone inside. You see what I mean? Instead of the flesh, moving the flesh, bone in place, and you know that you have a round ball at the end that you can roll on. One way I like to practice the scales is, well, I do this first, and then because that gives me the sound of the F, and then I get the fifth to be right. And so there's an emphasis on the 1, 4, 5, 1. So let's try that. Play, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. And down. Yeah, and then you can also do it 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and then as we go up, I like to reestablish the tonic for this kind of scale work.